15. Let's go back to 90s. Jump around. Yeah, jump up and get down. Y'all know this is LDH. Buckle up, buckle in. Shorty and I'm a G. Night, got me G.
So, Assalamualaikum guys, my name is Amir Fadli. Today our group will be presenting a case review on the case of Noble Sounds in Neighborhood and MRT Corporations in Neighborhood.
And this case was decided by the High Court of Malaya sitting in Kuala Lumpur, and the judge name is Lee Sway Sang, and the decision date is 15 November 2018.
So, this case concerns negligence in construction work when MRT excavation works it caused damage to a neighboring property. So, if you tell me what is the fact of the case, basically a plaintiff owned a 40-year-old double-story bungalow located in Damansara High, and the property was situated approximately 2.5 meters from MRT construction site at the Sungai Buloh Kajang. So, during the MRT excavation works, the plaintiff noticed that a crack on the filing room extension, crack on the car park pavement, and also movement and tilting on a rubber earth retaining wall near the road. So, the plaintiff claimed that this damage were caused by negligence by the excavation works, and the defendant argued that this was caused due to old, poor maintenance, and so on.
Okay, so now let's get into the party argument and what the court actually decides. So, the homeowner, the plaintiff, Noble Sounds in Neighborhood, argued that the construction of Sungai Buloh Kajang MRT line is what caused the damage to his property. He pointed into two main issues. The first one, the propagating of crack to his rear extension, and second one, the more alarming, the movement of the 5-meter tall rubber stone retaining wall at his edge of the property. The argument was direct. The deep excavation, piling and sheet piling for the nearest MRT pier caused the ground movement. This movement, they argued, was the sole cause of the new damage and the destabilization of the wall. They sought over 6 million ringgit in repair. The defendant, MRT Corporation, and its contractor mounted a robust defense. It had three key pillars. First, they presented dilapidation survey showing significant crack existed before their work began. They argued the property built on field land was naturally settling over decades. Second, they targeted the damaged extension itself. Evidence suggested it was an authorized addition, built too close to the boundary without proper foundation. The crack here, they said, were from its own poor construction and settlement, not the MRT. Third, and the most technical, they argued the retaining wall was fundamentally under-designed. Their expert calculated it had dangerously low factor of safety from day one. It wasn't the excavation that caused the problem. They contended but an inherent weakness that would have led to the movement inevitably. The defendant concluded that the MRT work was only a coincidence, not the cause. The damage would have happened anyway. In his 2018 judgment, Judge Lee Swee Sang meticulously dissected this argument. His ruling was a split decision.
The judge had no difficulty establishing this duty, citing a long-established legal principle known as the neighbour principle. He held that if you undertake an activity that could possibly harm your neighbour, you must take reasonable care to avoid it. The close proximity of the house, a mere 28 meters from the excavation, created a direct relationship. It was therefore fair, just, and reasonable for the law to impose this duty on the defendant. With this duty of care established, the central question became whether it was breached.
On the claim for the cracks in the extension and driveway, the homeowner failed. The judge agreed with the defendants. The pre-existing damage, the illegal nature of the extension, and the lack of harm to the main building pointed to the long-term settlement, not construction negligence. This claim was dismissed. But on the critical issue of retaining wall, the judge delivered a different verdict. He found the defendant liable. Why? Evidence of timing was decisive. The wall had stood for 40 years. Its movement was meticulously recorded during the specific window of excavation for the nearby pier. The movement stopped when the excavation finished. The judge found this correlation too powerful to ignore. He rejected the under-design argument, noting a wall with such a low safety factor would have collapsed long ago. The evidence showed the original design was adequate for the actual soil condition. The trigger for its failure was the ground disturbance from the MRT works. With liability established, now the question is remedy. The homeowner demanded millions for micro-piling fix, but the builder proposed a simpler and cheaper plan, which is soil nailing. Here, the judge made a landmark ruling. Instead of just awarding money, he issued a specific performance order. He commanded the defendants to personally fix the problem they created. The MRT defendants were ordered to build their own proposed reinforced concrete buttress to stabilize the wall at their own cost and to have it certified safe by independent engineer. If they fail to do so, they will have to pay a substantial cash sum. The ruling prioritized a swift, guaranteed fix for a public safety hazard over a mere financial penalty.
Within his detailed written judgment, the judge also made several noteworthy observations. While not forming that the essential basis for his decision, provided broader legal context and insight into his reasoning. These are known as obiter dicta. First, he drew an analogy to land acquisition law, noting that an owner of an illegal structure could not expect compensation if the land was acquired by the state. However, he immediately clarified this point. He stresses that his finding on illegal extension should not be taken to mean that someone in an illegal building can never sue for negligence. To illustrate, he compared it to an unlicensed driver who is entitled to claim damages if hit by another negligent motorist. Finally, in a more philosophical moment, the judge reflected on the expert evidence. He observed that given the state of the wall, one could only speak of when it will collapse, not if. A certainty he likened to death itself, if only the timing remaining unknown. The case of Noble Sound vs MRT Corporation established a clear principle. When a construction disrupts the delicate balance of the neighboring land, the burden of proof is high, but duty of care is higher. Sometimes justice is not about paying damages, but compelling someone to do what is right.
So our personal analysis and agreement with the court. We agree with the court reasoning and finding for several reasons. First, recognition of duty of care. So it is appropriate that contractors executing large public scale projects owe a duty of care to safeguard a neighbouring property, especially where proximity and possibility of damage are present. Secondly, a scientific and expert determination. The court appropriately rely on expert evidence and technical analysis, such as the soil investigation and time meter monitoring, instead of a speculation merely, to establish causation and access structural utility. And thirdly, which is illegal extension non-compensability, as a defense for the defendants, holding the plaintiff accountable for damages to an authorized building extension aligned with the legal principle discouraging illegal building practices. Lastly, a pragmatic remedy. The order for ratification work, which is a mass concrete retaining wall, rather than a purely a monetary award properly, advance public safety and property restoration. So, in this case, the judgment aligns well with the key thought principle, especially the framework in the Caparo industry against Stickman cases, and it also emphasized possibility and clear causation before imposing liability, limiting claims to physical damage rather than economic loss, consistent with the conscious stand in Murphy against Brentwood. And also, when compared to the federal court decision in our favorite cases, MPAJ Majlis Perbandaran Ampang Jaya against Stephen Puah Cheng Long, some parallels are distinction emerged. Both cases affirm the existence of duty of care where the risk of damage is foreseeable. However, MPAJ dealt with the public authority immunity and duties within the statutory framework, while Noble Sound involved a private contractor without immunity claims. And also, the MPAJ case deal extensively with a multiple top laser apportionment of liability, which the Noble Sound Court navigated by isolating damages solely attributable to the MRT excavations activities based on expert evidence. So, the significance of this case is significant. Why? as it addresses the duty of care in negligence with respect to construction activities near private property, specifically examining liability for property damage caused by excavation work for a public infrastructure project, which is the MRT project, and also it clarifies the application of the neighbour principle and the modern duty of care test in the context of tort claim involving damage from construction works, and highlight the importance of balancing public utility development with private property rights. In conclusion, noble sound can be cited confidently in future cases as authoritative precedent on negligent law in construction context. Because why? It provides a robust framework for a court to assess the duty of care and breach of duty of care and causation appropriate remedies, and also emphasizing accountability while balancing practical safety concerns. That's all for me. Thank you.